Talk to me about how we can bring joy and go from the moment of radical acceptance, which you talked about. It is what it is. It's out of our control. We are where we are. The past is the past. The future doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I've actually used that term radical acceptance before. I learned it from a yogi in India. So it's like not, like this is powerful stuff. It's universal human truth. Radical acceptance, radical meaning complete and thorough. And then you get into this zone where, okay, you're accepting your situation, and I am deliberately and intentionally bringing positivity into this moment that I am in right now, and thereby positively impacting the people around me. That's wild. This is your practice.
It changed my whole life. Like in that moment, I was like, man, we're in the darkness of dark. Like I wouldn't wish this on any parent, because you're like, every moment you're like, oh God, is this gonna be your last breath?
Yeah.
Oh God, he's had a rough night, and you're just like, am I being a good enough parent? And I'm paying enough attention? I felt guilty going down to the cafeteria. I was like, I can't leave you. And then you finally like, man, you can't stare at him 24/7. Like I had to get sleep.
Yeah.
And it was so hard. But I just was like, man, if this is it, I don't want it to be so dark and so heavy that that's all he feels.
Right.
I think as parents, like we want those grandiose moments for our kids. That's the greatest joy in me being a parent, is watching them experience those moments of joy and goodness and like adventure. And so I was just like, this is my responsibility.
I love the idea of responsibility as well, right? You have this ability to respond, and leveraging that to create a situation that's actually positive in the midst of some darkness is really, really cool. It's like response-ability, not...
And I'm going to take that, add that to my keynote.
Add that to the keynote.
I'll add that. Thank you, Dr. Greg Wells, adding that for the next clients.
It's not my idea. That was, again, the yogi in England.
Okay,
in
yogi.
India
To yogi in
to
somewhere.
yoga in Chennai. Anyway, you talk also, and you're writing your next book about the hard work of joy, which I'm now beginning to understand. Like when you're bringing joy, it's not just something that you, hey, yeah, you choose, yeah, everything's fine.
Buy the sign at the shop down the road and stick it in your kitchen.
Put it on the bumper sticker, right?
Do you know what I mean?
Totally. And this is the hard work. It's a practice. Actually, it's deliberate and intentional.
Yes.
It takes energy.
Yes.
But it works.
Yes. My life, I just was on a trip in London, England, and I was staying, our best friends moved there. So sad, like best friend and best friend. Our daughters are best friends. They've been best friends for since they were born. They moved there 4 years ago. We finally make this trip happen. And so we're in London, and I'm like, hello, nice to see you. And my girlfriend's like, Jess, she's like, you're like a lot for London. And she goes like, your energy is like a 10 out of 10, and the London energy is more like a 2 out of 10. She's like, there's just lots happening, and people kind of keep to themselves. And I was like, good morning, how's it going? You look great, love your coat.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny but for me, I don't want to live at a 2 out of 10. I want to live at a 10 out of 10. And I want to be clear, it's not always up here. This is hard work. This is a practice. This is habits. But it's just like the intentional choice of how you show up and what it looks like. And when I unlock that, gosh, it just feels so much better. That's
so cool. So walk me through the steps of crafting joy. And we talked about mind, body, emotion, spirit. Let's begin with the brain. Talk to me about the brain and how we can help ourselves feel more joyful and practice joy and bring the joy, and everything about how the brain works under those circumstances.
Talk about the brain. So let's be clear. I didn't do any of my sciences in high school. Didn't pass, and my science teachers were like, drama's more of the route for you. And I was like, oh, okay, great. I won't take any science classes. So I wish, though, now what I understood, I applied it in high school. So I want to just level set, not a doctor, not a medical professional. This is not medical advice. But because I've gotten so curious in this, I've done a lot of my own research. So this is what I've consumed, and I try to make it consumable for other people that would maybe not be the neuroscientist or super smart. I struggled with mental health. I have my whole life. I didn't have big trauma in my life, or really what I would call even little trauma. I grew up with 2 loving parents. I had both of my grandparents. We'd all get together on Christmas Day, and it would be loving and wonderful. And my grandpa would read out of the Bible, and we'd sing hymns, and we went to church, and it was pretty like a silver platter. Now, not without its hardships in different ways, but 2 brothers, we all liked each other, so good. And so when I struggled with mental health, it made me even more frustrated, because it's well, there's nothing wrong. You don't have anything wrong. And then you start to look at genetics, and then you start to look at like brain health. And so I attempted suicide in grade 11. And the thoughts in my head were suicidal ideations. And it was, you know, a moment where I just was like, the world would be better if I wasn't here. Like, that's what my brain fed me. And I listened to it. I hooked onto it. I found the evidence that I didn't belong and fit in. And it took me until my late 30s and losing Lewiston to really understand taking care of my body. Like, I would work out and I'd eat the kale salad, but knowing now what I know has totally shifted the practice, which I think makes it so much easier for me to be a person that brings the joy. So when I think about mental health, I specifically think about brain health, because a healthy brain can then decipher, oh, is this a healthy thought, or is this like bullshit from the pit of hell? Like, your brain offers you both thoughts. You can't stop the thoughts from coming. But if I have a really dark thought, my brain's healthy enough in a position now to be like, no, that's a lie. Like, that, here's all the evidence. And so when I think about brain health, when I think about these moments, a big part for me is like, what am I consuming? And I wish you could say, wow, she doesn't have anything bad. Like, I'll have a can of pop, or, you know, I like to eat, you know, Smart Sweets and all of these other fun desserts. But I'm so conscious now of how I fuel my body, because my brain accesses 25 to 30% of what I consume as my fuel. So when I think about like, well, what quality of fuel are you putting into your body? And I push my body hard. Like, not a lot of people can keep up with my schedule, and they don't have to. I've chosen this. This is what I like. I feel like I'm in a season where I can. And not to say I don't crash, but like, I have to be a well-oiled, well-taken care of vessel to do what I do. And so I really look at how can I take care of my brain health. And that's a lot about what you consume. It's what you listen to. Like, I talk about curated consumption. Like, what are you watching? Like, you see people spiraling. Well, it's like, well, when you're watching Fox News all night long and seeing story after story after story, and some people would call me ignorant, but I don't consume a lot of the news because it just feels so negative and so depressing. And so I know from my mental state, it's not healthy for me to do that. I also consume things that inspire me, things that like, oh man, that makes it possible, or like, look at that good news story, or look at community come together. And so like, how you consume food, what you listen to, what you see, and then environment, the people that you're hanging out with, the things that they're saying. We work out on Fridays. There's a super cool group of us. Anyone's welcome. So if you're ever in Calgary, nice. It's like, as long as you get into class, like, you have a seat at the table. And even if you miss class, you can come join us, and we have coffee afterwards. And one girl joined us, and she just was like carrying the suitcase of suffering, victim mentality. And I wanted to punch her in the fucking face, because I was like, man, there is a mom that's sitting in the hospital watching her kid take every breath, being like, is this it? And will give everything to be in your position to have your problems. And I'm not discounting the problems, because I still can get overwhelmed or, you know, anxious or frustrated. But I think it's like this perspective shift about like who you're with and what they talk about and how you show up for each other. I just stopped being in conversations where people talk shit and are in bad energy. I was
100%.
like, circle it up, out we go. I don't want to have that. And it makes a difference on how you then fuel your own body and soul.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. It's like the delete block policy on social. Like, if I see a comment I don't like, delete and block.
Yeah.
Delete the comment, block the person. Don't need it, don't have time for it.
I'm not going to engage,
right.
Expend any unnecessary.
Why would you? Because you're not convincing them of anything.
Exactly.
And watching the news is a zero-sum game. Like, of course, you need to be generally aware of what's sort of happening in the world. But doom scrolling through the updates on everything that's happening right now in the world, when you can actually make a difference by doing something positive, that you bring that back under control rather than just passively consuming content that's designed to make you scared and upset and angry. So I love all of that. You continuously reference exercise and nutrition. Mm-hmm. So isn't it curious that we're talking about joy and crafting joy and bringing joy and fueling joy, and we land on the basics of mindset, exercise, nutrition.
Amen.